Druid massively parallelizes query processing. Its processes work in parallel to select table data, to process it, to carry out merging, to do post-processing, all before sending the results back. Approximation technique helps Druid make query execution lean and efficient. You might find that you store less data, not just in the deep store, but also on local disks and in memory. You might find that less processing is done when queries actually execute, that less data is transferred between all the moving parts of your Druid cluster. And because of how Druid implements approximation technique, that more work is done in the most scalable part of a Druid cluster, the individual data processes. You can try out approximation for things like finding the top N of something, like the top 10 countries by population. For estimating cardinality, like the number of unique IP addresses over a time period, or the number of visitors this week who didn't visit last week. And for percentiles, ranks, and histograms. Top N approximation works by changing where and when the order by and limit clauses of your SQL are applied. Count distinct and those data distribution functions, they rely on Apache data sketches. Now, data sketches are a class of algorithm that solve a range of problems with high cardinality data. And Druid has supported using sketches to solve for count distinct and those data distribution functions, well, for quite a long time. It's worth going and reading more about data sketches on their official project site. Part of the boost for Druid comes from their restricted size, a few thousand kilobytes, no matter the size or the shape of the data that you use to create them. You can use data sketches in two different ways. You can either embed them in the table data itself, or you can just use Druid to generate and use them as part of normal query execution, and that's the default. But we need to be realistic. Even the word approximation can be concerning for end users. While you and I might think, wow, these sketches are really cool, they're great for scaling, they're great for performance, all the end users are going to see is one word: approximate. While results may not be 100% accurate, the error rates and the conditions, well, they're predictable and they're well understood. With Top N, go and take a look at the Druid documentation. It tells you where they work well, like top-heavy distributions and additive measures, and where they don't work so well, like uniform distributions and ratios with small denominators, for example. And with sketches, there's a ton of published material out there, including error tables that you can go and reference. Remember too that for a long time, approximation technique in general has been used on high volume, high cardinality datasets to solve for things like count distinct. And you'll meet people in the community who started to use Apache Druid precisely because of its support for Apache data sketches. They found that Druid was able to give them the performance they needed at a price they were willing to pay. And finally, don't forget about that user experience you're building. Once these people see the speed and the flexibility of your UI, well, you might just win them over. Now, there's some people who definitely unquestionably need accurate results, like when someone's doing a financial return. It's perfectly okay that they wouldn't be approximate, and you can set up a Druid solution to run without approximation. You can even do it query by using context parameters. You could combine it with query laning, so that you're isolating those longer running queries from ones that you're using for more interactive user experiences. You might choose to set up two tables, one with the raw data, so people can still filter and group by the original dimension values. And you might have a second table where you're storing those sketched versions of the original. And that second table, that might be where you point people whose priority is speed. And then you've got the other table where someone's priority is flexibility. Jian said that approximation is all part and parcel of the Druid gig. So go and try out these techniques, use your own data, see what difference it makes to you.